happening, people? I'm your host of KingScoop.com, Malcolm Means, again with Blockhead, aka Harold Presley. What's happening, man? How you feeling?
I believe we better do that one all over.
Yeah.
That's what I think. We better cut and edit that one. I'll choke him.
You gonna choke? I'll choke you.
You might want to start all over.
What's happening, Kings fans? I'm your host of KingScoop.com, Malcolm Means, bringing you the inside scoop with your Sacramento Kings. I've got Harold Presley along with me. He wants to hurt people today. What's happening, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a new week.
Yes.
It's a new week, Nate. Well, some good news and some bad news in that.
The good news is
a new week.
Let's start with the good news.
The good news is we can start the week all over again.
What was the bad
We
news?
can start it off new. The bad news is we got a lot of new coming in this week.
Yes.
New York, New Jersey, New Orleans, and all of them are playing pretty well right now.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good right now. Amari Stoudemire coming in with giving 20-20 nights. What is that all about? And then Kevin Love doing 30-30 nights?
What do you mean, what is that all about? You're talking about a guy who has done that pretty much his entire career.
Right.
He had a couple of months where he was hurt and he was injured and he had to miss out. But other than that, this guy has been true and steady ever since coming out of high school. So there's nothing new about what Stoudemire does.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that. Now, again, we've got the Knicks coming in. We've got New Jersey and then New Orleans on Sunday. That one's going to be on NBA TV.
They have just gone 8-1 prior to this week's start.
Yeah.
The only loss coming just last night.
To Dallas Mavericks.
And it was a big-time game. They had a chance to actually win that game, so they are going to be hungry, and they are looking like one of the top teams in the NBA.
Yes.
And nobody really expected them to be that high up at this point, simply because point guard, he wasn't happy going into the season.
No.
And now that he's comfortable and rock and roll.
But hold on, Monty Williams, is that your boy, head coach?
Monty Williams.
Yeah.
Is he there?
He's the head coach. Where have you been at?
I'm trying to follow this whole league, but I got other things going on. The Christmas event is coming up for 400 kids. I got a couple things going on.
Okay, I'll let you slide with that. Yeah, he's the head coach over there. He's got him buying into the system. He's got Chris Paul under wraps. He said, stick with me for a year and I'll prove to you that we can produce a winner. And so far, 8-1, a 7-1 start right now.
8-1.
Looking pretty good right now.
So it's gonna be a fun year for them. Can they maintain? They've actually beat some pretty impressive teams, so it's going to be pretty fun to see what they do going forward.
Okay, well, you said about the Sacramento Kings. If they have their legs underneath them, they could possibly start jumping on some of these veteran teams because veteran teams don't get their legs until after
after
December.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the norm, but there's got to be something going on with these Kings because there's no way that they lose to the teams that they have lost to without some kind of distraction. And that's what we're going to try to find out for you here on KingScoops.com.
Man, you know, I love my man Run DMC. I love the group Run DMC, but my man Run DMC, he's a little out there. You know, I don't know what's going on, but he pulls his headband down, and body language is a huge indicator for me. You know, I see a lot of things where he's slamming his hands and making faces and turning away, but again, the TV picks it up, and if you're at the games, you see that type of reaction, and I don't know if that takes away from the rest of the team.
Well, I will tell you, yes, it does. Anytime you have a distraction, it will obviously take away from what you're doing on the court, and it will cause a little dissension amongst the rest of the players. Right. Now, to give you an example, I'm not saying that this is happening with the Kings right now, but I'm going to tell you how it went down with me in the NBA. When two players are not getting along, and they're pretty much your top upper level players, then the rest of the team is going to suffer for that.
Okay.
And so if they're not getting along, if people are not happy with the performance of one of your top players, they're going to let you know, and they're going to let you know on the court. Unfortunately, the whole team suffers because of 1-2 guys on your whole team.
Okay, well that makes sense.
They Now let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. Do they have talent? Yes, they do have talents. Do they have the best talent in the West? Absolutely not. Do they have enough talent to beat the teams that they have played up to this point? Absolutely yes. So there's something else going on.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they've lost 5 straight games, and right now that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, last week, I think we were like thinking 2-1 with maybe a possible loss against Phoenix, but they lost to
All
Minnesota,
three.
Phoenix, and then they laid a goose egg on the last game.
To Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes. So Detroit was one they obviously shouldn't have. Minnesota is playing far better than anybody thought they would, but still in all, you should beat that team here at home.
Again.
It may be different on the road, but here at home, you should beat that team. Going on the road to play Phoenix is a tough one, is a winnable, because of Phoenix's style. Every time you play them is winnable. But when you put a team together like Phoenix and they're really playing at a high level, then it's hard to beat them.
Right.
But on any given night, any team in the NBA can beat another team.
But the turnovers, let's talk about that. That's the part that's really just mind-blowing to me, is that they started out so well. I think they've had like 13 per game at one point, and now they're up to like 20, 22 every single night. So you can't win a game like that, can you?
All unhappiness. And when you are unhappy, when your things aren't going right, you just stop caring about certain things. And one of the first things that goes is caring about the ball. And you just throw the ball anywhere. If you're not really concerned with hitting your teammate in the right position, you're just going to be lackadaisical. That was a tough one to get out with the ball. And it's really strange to see this ball going all over the place on a team like this when they finished up pretty nicely last year.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things right now where I keep reading about certain Kings players not caring about some things going on right now, and there's, like you said, there's some dissension in the air right now. I don't really want to speak about it without giving the hard, cold facts about it,
but we will get to the bottom of it.
We will get
that's
there.
That's what KingScoop.com does.
Man, I didn't think it would happen this early, man.
Nobody, and I was hoping. You talk about some of the players on the team and the personality and the things that they have gone through in the past. You were hoping that everybody in the Sacramento area, was hoping that you can get beyond that. First year especially.
Right.
First year is supposed to be the honeymoon year.
Right.
And if you got some issues right now, well, then that unless you make some changes in a hurry, it's going to be a long year for the Sacramento Kings.
They had a bunch of great pieces that they added to the team with Dallin Bear, Carl Landry they brought in for Kevin Martin. You've got Tyreek Evans on there. You bring in Omri Caspi. You've got a sharpshooter in Luther Head and Francisco Garcia, who should be able to knock down shots, but it just doesn't seem to be flowing.
Well, and then you make some changes as far as who's point guard, who's actually going to shoot the ball. You're looking at a lot of time issues right now.
Right.
How much time do you have for each and every individual player on the court? When you talk about Garcia now comes in after being out all last year.
Right.
Well, he's eaten an awful lot of minutes.
Right.
Omri Caspi is he's down in minutes this year compared to last year. Landry obviously came in towards the second half of last year.
Right.
But his minutes are being shared where they weren't last year. You have an awful lot of big guys that are trying to get some time. You have some point guard situation that, yes, Tyreek is playing the one and the two position, but last year he was primarily all one.
Right.
And so he's got to get comfortable at the two when he's in there. Luther Head is taking some minutes from at the point guard spots from everybody. So there's not a lot of happiness from what I can see. And I'm talking about just watching the game.
Right.
You can tell. As you said, body language says it all. And you can pick up all that kind of stuff when the guy walks to the bench. You just watch him walk to the bench, you can see how happy or unhappy he is.
A lot of unhappiness going on, 5. Now, you've played at a high clip, you've knocked down a lot of shots, seen your numbers go up, and then all of a sudden Is that something that you did or said something, and then the next thing you know, your minutes start dwindling down?
Well, with me, it was injury. But I've seen it. I've seen it all with different players. Yes, I was fortunate. Every year, my number went up until my last year. Had an ankle injury, had a back injury, was completely taken out of any kind of role. And obviously thrown in minute here, minute there, the numbers just kind of fall altogether. Wasn't happy. I can tell you right now, I wasn't happy going to practice. It was miserable, not for me, but for everybody else, because I was angry about not playing in the game. So I took it out in practice. And it became an ugly practice.
Right.
And I wasn't the only one in the situation, there was others. And that's what you have to deal with. So you not only do you have to get ready for the game, but you have to try to figure out how you're going to run practice without people getting hurt in practice, with people trying to be happy and upbeat and all on the same page.
Right.
And if you don't get to it early, the great teams understand who's going to play. When you talk about the Lakers team, you know right away who are the people on the floor and who's going to get the minutes. They try to get an awful lot of minutes for most of the guys on the team, but when it comes down to it, you know who it is. Well, right now in Sacramento, you don't have a clue who's really going to get all the minutes, other than Tyreke Evans.
Exactly.
Other than that, everybody else is up in the air, and that's a hard thing to deal with as a player.
Well, we're going to come back later on this week, and we're going to find out what's really going on. We're going to crack this case. I don't know if it can be cracked this week, but we're going to do a little bit of sneak peek with a little ba-da, open up, see what we can do. All right, so this is what I have to say about it right now. I know he's a little upset about it. This is his beloved Kings right here, the crown jewel of California, Sacramento. Where you at? Holla back at us. Let us know what you think. Peace.